Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. It is week 2 of
It's never good when
June's
you exhale
Bernthal.
as you do the intro.
Yeah, it's breathy.
Like, are you doing squats while you're doing this?
No, we're just hanging out, man. Everybody just
You're like
enjoy
that. You're
yourself.
like that news clip you sent me. The guy getting head and like during like Newsmax or
Yeah,
something.
just looking down, just at his piece, just mumbling
He's like,
nonsense.
yeah, he's like, fuck
no, he
yes.
looks like he goes,
Oh fuck.
which is accurate. Like that's an accurate. It's either that or it's just pleasant surprise. Like, oh,
Mhm.
look at that. We watched The Accountant, Ben Affleck and John Bernthal's The Accountant. Let me just say, delightful film. I'll put it on Front Street. I know that everybody else already watched it, so this was really just a treat for the kids.
Yeah, but like most things, like I basically forgot the entire movie because
I was worried that like I just liked it because I thought it was gonna suck, and I know how well it would hold up.
Same director as
Warrior?
Warrior.
Underrated MMA movie Warrior, which I think we all like.
Also brothers, also daddy issues. It's a big lot of parallels.
For my choice, can I get a ruling real quick before I forget about it?
Sure.
Okay, can we do the last 3 episodes of the first season of The Punisher, or at least like 2 of the last 3 in place of a movie? Because there's so many Bernthal movies, but he's not the lead in most of them.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I love that show.
I mean, I'll allow it. Is it still on?
Okay.
It's on Disney. Is it? What's
It
on?
was.
It might be. On
DJ,
Disney
can you
Plus
get it,
now.
do you think?
It's not on Netflix anymore, correct?
I'm sure I can get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Cool.
That's a stupid question.
What? So what are we like? What are we watching? Like the first 4 episodes, or
No, the last 3 of the first season, so 11, 12, and 13, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I can get it. Yeah.
Hell
It
yeah.
feels like a million years ago that show came out.
It really does.
It was what was it 6 or 8 years back? It's a while, right?
It's been a fucking minute.
2017. So a year
That's
after
6
this
years.
movie. A year after the movie we watched tonight came out.
I want to say, before we get into it, I feel like we were all like early in on Bernthal. Like, I feel like we were talking about him like way before he kind of popped off.
Since The Walking Dead. I think he was impressive in that. And
What was it, Snitch? Alec, what was the Rock movie we ended up watching? He pops up in.
That movie sucked.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But yeah,
according to this, it's still on Netflix and it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
So,
killer. Done and done.
And we can watch it in shifts. You don't have to sit down and watch the whole thing. So
I'll investigate it after the show. I mean, one way or another, I'll get it. But
thank you.
If it's already streaming, then I'll just we'll talk about it.
Fun fact, I never watched that Punisher show, so this will be interesting to watch those 3 episodes.
That's shocking.
I know.
Wow.
I love the Punisher.
you
Watch
should watch
the whole thing.
Just
Yeah.
run
Really
the table.
good.
I can do that in a week, can't I?
The second
Probably.
season's a little weak, but
I don't think I even watched the second season.
it's not very
It's
good.
That
okay.
first season, the first episode is tremendous, and I remember distinctly how good that first episode is.
Oh yeah.
And then I just remember it being awesome. I don't remember anything specific about like episodes,
I think.
except for when he goes into like the pawn shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy's like selling his guns and his police scanner and stuff. And then for some stupid ass reason, as he's
He's like,
walking
you
out
want
the
some
door,
kitty porn?
he's
Yeah.
like, "You like porn?"
Yeah.
And he's like walking away, like, "No." He's like, "I got anything you want. Guy on guy, girl on girl, kids."
I love the idea that like
the Punisher, like,
He
just proceeds to destroy this guy.
doesn't he
I love
like
the idea
doesn't
that
he
just
do the
regular
classic
old-
thing where he turns the open to close sign and walks
Yeah.
back? And,
yeah, I got girl on girl. Like, yeah, what year is this? Like 1985? Yeah, we all got that. Like, it ain't
Yeah.
that hard to come by.
Yeah, it's,
I remember
VHS too. Thanks.
there's a weight room fight that I remember, and then I think it's like the second or third episode of the first season, the flashback to Iraq, the whole last 10 minutes of the fucking show.
yeah, that was great.
I think the weight room fight is actually in Daredevil.
Is it?
Because
Okay.
he's in prison
in
with the
prison,
King,
right?
Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't Punisher.
He's
I
in
think it might be-
is it season 2 of Daredevil where he shows up? Because that was all really good
Dude,
too.
season
That's
3
the
of
one he
Daredevil is
first shows up.
tragically underrated.
I 1,000% agree. Like I
Yeah.
feel like nobody watched it. I thought it was great.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that. I didn't watch season 2 of what's the show with the girl?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I didn't watch season 2 because season 1 of that was great.
It was fantastic.
But
Yeah.
season 2, I watched like the first couple of episodes. I was like, this just isn't. It ain't got it.
I didn't watch anything past the first season of Luke Cage, so I missed the Defenders and I missed Iron Fist.
I wouldn't say you
Yeah.
watched the Defenders. It wasn't very
Defenders
good.
was not great. Iron Fist was
Yeah,
flat out bad.
yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the guy who they cast as him. He was just terrible.
Yeah, he was.
Why didn't
not
you get
good.
Scott Adkins?
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Sorry, I
we
got
should've-
everybody way off topic.
So anyway,
I'm just trying to
we,
figure out how I'm gonna watch 12 hours of this show in the next week, but I'll figure it out.
we watched The Accountant. And we're going to
Benjamin Button it go backwards.
Oh, snap! Make it all prequels.
But anyway, let's do what we do every single week. What did you all watch this week? Gogs.
Oh my God.
I never pick Gogs first.
So things have been busy, so I hadn't watched much. I did watch last week's movie, even though I didn't make the show, and I didn't listen to
What'd
what
you
you
think of
guys.
that?
I didn't listen to what you guys said, so this is me coming
Okay.
in cold.
But you only
I
listen to the shows you're on, right?
I
Is that what you
don't even listen to the shows I'm on. Like I'm just
so why would you listen to ones you're not on?
I'm just letting you know that I'm coming into this.
I just
without
don't
knowing
listen.
what you
Full
guys
stop.
said. I'm not supporting the show.
I only listen when Kobe's on.
I'll listen to a Kobe episode.
We should
Or
have
if
him
Nate
on.
shows up.
We should
So
have him on again soon.
I'm gonna give that film an 8. I really liked it. I liked it. I guess none
Are
of you
you
guys
out
did.
of your mind?
Wait, I don't even remember what movie we watched last week.
Pilgrimage.
Oh, it was yeah.
None
What
of you
did
liked it?
like?
No.
Oh my God, no.
Oh, I liked it.
I think it was like an average of a 3.
It
Wow.
was so,
Well-
it was so boring. What did
Really?
You like?
You
Oh
know
my
all the violence and
Yeah,
like
but there was like all the violence. There was like 2 scenes.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was well lit, well done. I liked Bernthal in it. He only said one word. I like Spider-Man in it. I enjoyed it. Still an 8. I don't give a shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hot.
Well, you know,
Eggs.
deal with that. I'm surprised. I guess now I'm gonna listen to what you guys hated about it. You don't have to recap it now.
I think we just saw. I mean, it was just real. We all found it like really, really boring.
I didn't for some reason. I found it pretty compelling.
And we thought that the violence. We liked all the things you mentioned, right? But we felt that it was underserved. Like there's only two real action scenes in the whole movie, and it just takes too long to get there, and then the movie's over.
Well, I liked it. I liked the build up to it. I hated the Weasley monk. I liked when he got his. I don't know. I liked it. So there we have it.
That's what separates us from
Polarizing.
the animals, not the
Yeah.
weasels.
Hot take. Then the other thing I saw was the Across the Spider-Verse, which I also really enjoyed.
Oh.
Oh, you really didn't listen to the show last week.
Well, I know
Takes
Alex
all
didn't
around
care
for
it.
gods.
Yeah. I don't know if TJ's seen it yet. I know he was.
I haven't. I hopefully this week. I've just been too fucking busy. I'm dying to see it. I'm pissed off I haven't seen it yet.
So, I mean, you know, if you're a fan of the Pilgrimage, you'll probably love Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, I don't know. I came, I mean, it's not spoilers, right?
Says Cogs.
It's not a spoiler to know that it's a 2-parter, right? That's a to be continued, which I'm not stoked about, but at least I walked in knowing that stuff wasn't going to get resolved in one go.
Did anybody boo in your theater? Because apparently that has been happening.
I mean,
At the
I
to be
didn't.
continued. Oh.
My kids didn't. Then there was only like 8 people in the theater with other than like my immediate family. So
What
I
did
thought-
your kids think?
they fucking loved it.
Of course they did.
Yeah, they were very into it. They love all the Spider-Man. They love Daniel Kaluuya. I can never say his name right, but his Spider-Punk
Loa?
Kaluuya.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was Spider-Punk. That's awesome.
They love Spider-Punk. I liked all the stuff. I liked all the Gwen Stacy stuff. I liked all the giving her a lot of like to do. I liked all the Miles family stuff. I think Oscar Isaac's voice acting was excellent. I don't know anything about Spider-Man 2099. Here's the thing. I don't know a ton about the Greater Spider-Verse as it is. So I don't know if that changes other people's opinions, like people who are like, oh, that shouldn't be or whatever.
At least the first run of Spider-Man 2099 is actually really good. It's like a cyberpunk thing. I think you'd like it.
Well, I mean, it was a kind of a, they're fighting through, what looked like a hive city at some point in this movie. So I was like, it's kind of fucking cool. No, I really enjoyed it. I love, I'm excited to see hopefully the end of the story in March of next year. I would have preferred it to have just been.
Oh, I didn't know it was coming out that quick.
Yeah, it's scheduled for March of 24.
Damn.
I mean, I assume it's like they're Lord of the Ringsing it. I'm sure it's done. They're just giving this one enough time to cook and sell Blu-rays or whatever.
Now they're going to tweak it to see what people liked about this one.
Oh, I guess that's true.
It didn't.
They can modify and adjust.
One thing since watching it last week that I saw on TikTok that I didn't really think about is, and I don't know if I said this last week or not, maybe mild spoilers. They show a bunch of live action stuff from the live action movies. Spider-Man and Uncle Ben's and other characters as being part of the Spider-Verse, but they don't show Tom Holland. And I didn't put it together until I saw a TikTok about it that he's not in it because everybody forgets that he's Spider-Man. Nobody remembers he's Spider-Man anymore. So he doesn't show up, but all the other Spider-Man
So no one recruited him to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That and they still have that weird agreement, so they might not even have the rights to show him. But it is a good storyline.
Well, he pops up in Venom though. In Venom 2.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Marvel's the one who needs to negotiate the rights to use it. Because he's a Sony, this is a Sony movie.
Yeah.
So it would be the other way around. If Marvel made this movie, then Marvel would have had to fight for his rights.
Then I retract my statement.
But
I'd like my statement stricken from the record. TJ, when you edit this, just bleep out what I said.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that gets put on Miles late in the movie that it was a real head scratcher about the implications of dimensional travel that I really enjoyed. I don't know.
He took Gwen Stacy out on a boat.
It's because of the implication. He's a real Ted Kennedy.
Guys, did you know that Gwen Stacy is canonically trans?
Oh, good for her.
That whole discussion. Jesus Christ. Sure, why not? The funniest thing is people getting really upset about it and it's just why? Yeah, sure she is. Who cares? Why do you give a shit? It's a cartoon, man. Who cares?
Yeah. Sure. I wanted to fuck that cartoon minor.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Flip that.
Yeah. No one drums up Gwen Stacy on groomer charges, but
that's Glenn Stacy.
Old Glenn Stacy, is that what you just called her?
Yeah.
Nice. But no, I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun, and my kids liked it, and I'm excited about seeing the next one. But that is everything I watched. Sean.
I watched a movie.
Hey, yo.
God.
For this podcast?
Yeah.
Why the hell would you do something like that?
I don't know, because I feel attacked every time somebody asks me if I watched a movie like it's anybody's fucking business.
Well, wait till you say what you think about it, then you get attacked for that. So go ahead.
It's not a new one, but I'm going to lean on Gogs as resident Star Wars expert. Return of the Jedi is a bad movie, right? Gogs, do I like Star Wars? I think I like 2 Star Wars movies.
Return of the original trilogy, it's the worst one, but of the first 3, those are still better than everything except
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
I mean, yeah, but
there's
that's not saying a lot.
I know, but looking at it through today's eyes, you can tell that Return of the Jedi was noted all the fuck. And it became sort of the prototypical Disney movie. And then if you watched the one that Lucas went back, did you watch the special edition?
I can only watch this, but I don't have access to the
You're not a maniac. I don't spend $110 on the DVD.
The despecialized editions are on the Plex.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
But even without that, my problem, besides the Lucasing of the re-Lucasing, the problems of the movie are kind of there from the beginning.
The problems of the movie
Luke's plan is
ludicrous.
Stupid. It relies on so much shit to happen.
It hinges on him getting captured.
Not only him, but so Gogs, you're the one that would probably know this better than anybody. Did were there 2 other aborted plans, or was it all part of the same plan?
I think, I don't know. I've never heard one way or the other, but like to make the opening sequence, which if you take just a step back and just look at it like a Indiana Jones stunt spectacular, it's a ton of fun. Like I love the fucking skiff. I love all that nonsense. But if you're like, you've got Lando in there, deep enough cover, he filled out a job application. This guy
How long has he been there?
He's long enough to he'll get Cobra when he leaves.
Yeah,
like, he's
the little G.I. Joe guys.
Yeah, no, not the little G.I. Joe guys. So he applied for a job, got the job, he's guarding the goddamn Rancor or whatever, and then they send the droids with no backup. No. At all, just to the front door, I guess, to get captured because they ultimately knew that R2-D2 would become like an end table, and he's loaded up with the one laser sword that if Luke just walked in with the laser sword from the jump.
But he just walks in anyway.
He walked in with a laser sword.
Right, he could have just walked in there, done the mind trick to everybody but Jabba, whether or not he knew that would work on him, and then just killed him, because they just kill him anyway. It's not like there's some kind of peaceful negotiation, really.
Right, but you're right. There are 3,
he has expended every resource that he has.
There's 1 job application and 3 foiled plots, because the droids don't work, and Leia and Chewie don't work, and then he himself don't work. And Lando's just sitting there the whole time going, I don't know, man. And then they all end up on the
Jabba the Hutt's like a Jeff Bezos level crime lord, right? He probably has robots, if he needs them, already installed. Like, how does he know that he's going to bring them
because he got
straight into his throne room?
They sent the boys down to the breaker bot in the basement, and you're right. It all hinges on a string, and that string is a series of circumstances that no one would have planned for because it's all bad.
Yeah, and then he just walks in there basically anyway, and then the Harrison Ford is I know he didn't want to be in the movie, but now that you kind of have that knowledge, you realize how fucking bored he is.
If I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm pretty confident that Carbonite's gonna live through whatever. I'm just gonna strafe it with an X-wing, just and then just dig him out.
Bro, just walk in. He does it anyway. You know what I mean?
But he walks in without his sword. So you're right. This plan is dumb.
Yeah,
but but it's also dumb to build a giant space thing with the exact same flaw as the last one.
It doesn't have, I guess it does have the same flaw, but it's also not finished, so I get that part, but the whole middle of the movie, nothing happens. It's real boring.
They're going to the planet, the whole Ewok bit is just for the kids.
Yeah.
And here's one of my favorite things, right? They were gonna eat Han and Luke, right?
100%.
So the implication is that all the stormtroopers that died on Endor were consumed by the Ewoks.
Well, they're gonna SA Leia, right? That's a given in whatever way that they can do.
They could just eat her. I don't know if they're gonna SA her.
I mean,
this isn't an anime,
right? I don't know. I don't know what they're into, but they could have.
And I don't know if it's a function of me seeing the movie so many times, but it feels interminably long. It seems so much longer than the first 2.
Yeah, even Palpatine's plan at the end to try and turn people or die is kind of silly. But I think there's just enough little magic left in it that if I were to watch it right now, I would see rose-colored glasses right through it and be like, yeah, this is fun.
And they, you talk about there's bad lines in the prequels, and there are. I'm not defending, this isn't going there, but it's who is it? Someone who loves you. That sucks. That line is
if he had answered
terrible.
With Haiti? If he just given some other name. But no.
Chewbacca, huh? No, that movie's not very good, man. The first 2 are still really good, and Rogue One's good, but you missed me with every other Star Wars movie.
If Luke's whole point was to try and peacefully negotiate Han to get back, he kills everybody, including presumably other slaves and servants and captured people.
Well, he knows it's going to go sideways because he wouldn't have brought the sword with him at all. You know what I
Right.
mean? He just made it harder to get for some reason.
He just preloaded it into R2, and then he knew.
It's like Liz knows where that Nutella is, but you go through the whole rigmarole of hiding
Right,
it, so it's a little bit hard. You got to think about it before you get to it.
We got to keep the romance alive. Like
Right,
if they just brained him from the second he walked in the door, instead of making him walk the plank so he could do his Greg Louganis triple whatever Salchow to get the goddamn thing out of the sky, none of this worked. It worked because that's a movies,
are
baby.
Hutts, are they transracial with their dating? Like they're attracted to her? Like I don't know, man. Like the movie's not good. Hot take. Return of the Jedi, bad movie.
Well, there you go.
The end. Alec.
Full stop.
I watched one movie. It's
one movie?
2023's Renfield.
Whoa!
I heard that's
How was
good.
it?
It's a bunch of fun. It's a blast.
I need to watch it.
Hour 33 minutes. You get
Nice.
Nick Cage and Nick Holt played Dracula and Renfield. Aquafina plays some cop.
Is it set in modern times?
Yes, it's set in modern times.
Nice.
It is gory and fucking bloody and insane. The bad guy's played by Jean-Ralphio Saperstein. His mom is played by Dr. Kavita Rao from the X-Men movies, or The Last Stand.
Okay.
X-Men movie. It's a fucking blast. It's like a million miles an hour the whole way. Super go, people getting literally ripped to shreds on camera with this insane, stupid CGI blood. It's so fucking dumb. It's awesome. That's an hour and 33 minutes. How can you go wrong?
That's the perfect timing.
I heard it's a very Nick Cagey. I heard it's an excellent performance by him.
Yeah, it's what he does now. He leans into everything a million%. Nick Holt's really good in it. I think I like him
great.
a lot. I think he's a really good actor. But he's great in it.
Are there a lot of flashbacks to him being like black and white Dracula? Because I saw
no, hardly
pictures. Okay, because the pictures they did of him, I don't know. I guess they went to the press junket. They did a really good job replicating the old Bela Lugosi look. I was really impressed. I was like, look at that.
There's a little bit at the very beginning because it's kind of told first person through Renfield. He talks.
Mm-hmm.
It has inner monologue and stuff a little bit. So he's me and Master have been traveling, blah 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 blah. A little bit at the beginning to set up the movie. It's a fucking blast though. I absolutely loved it. I would love to watch it again.
That's good. That's good to hear because it definitely looked like a lot of fun.
It's the perfect kind of stupid fucking gore fest. Slap them up. There's literally probably 100 kills in this movie. And a lot of them, at one point, people's arms get ripped off and then they're thrown javelins through other people. It is awesome.
That sounds fun.
It is. That's the only thing I watched though. So watch Renfield. Renfield, 2 thumbs up.
What's that on?
2 thumbs up that I gave Into the Spider-Verse.
It's on the Plex.
It's on the Plex. It's on. We watched it on, I think, Peacock.
Sweet.
Yeah, but check it out. Check it out, boys.
Hell yeah.
Who's left? TJ.
Hey. I watched one thing, and it's the best kind of movie because it was an hour and 2 minutes long.
Oh,
I watched a movie called Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's on Shudder. It was made in 1995. It is a no budget film. This thing, not only does it look like it was shot on a Game Boy Color, it's the effects in the movie are so bad and so hilariously attempted. They try really hard sometimes, and then other times they're fuck it, this is just a plastic head that we're covering in blood. There's one point where the main character's trying to this zombie they've already disembodied, and that's not the right word. Chopped into pieces. What's the word?
Disemboweled.
Dismembered.
Dismembered. Thank you. They dismembered this corpse, right? and it's like Evil Dead zombie rules. So like every part of its body is still animated, even though it's separated from itself. So like he the head somehow like grows a foot, and the head like bites him and then kicks him at the same time. It's fucking hilarious looking. And then at one point, like the main character grabs the zombie's head, which clearly is just the actor standing behind the woman that he's trying to bite, so they they can show his head, but they can't. They want to have him gouge out his eyes, but they can't figure that effect out, so they just have like his like under his eyes just like bleeding profusely, like where he's like barely touching, like he's touching the top of his cheeks. It's so fucking funny. And like honestly, like the movie's so no budget. At some points, it stumbles into being kind of artsy and like interesting because they can't do anything other than like what they have in front of them. Like there's actually some like really creative like shots in the movie, but then it's counterbalanced by just absolute hilarity. Like the ending of the movie, they're fighting this fucking demon that looks like a deflated like Howard Stern puppet. Is the best way I can describe it. It's a lot of fun. It's fucking insane. The movie opens with like no preamble. It's literally just this couple in this house, and the lady, it's a man and a woman, a husband and wife, and the wife is like, you're not leaving me. I love you. And then she stabs him, and she doesn't kill him, and he stabs her, and she dies. And this is like the first 3 seconds of the movie, and then he buries her in his house, and that is what causes like the demon infestation. Then it fast forwards without telling you 30 or so years in the future to the same actor as the husband, but they don't tell you that it's not the husband for another 5 minutes. That's actually the son. And it's revealed to you in the most hilarious way, where the titular muscle man he meets up with an old ex-girlfriend of his, and she's like, I'm investigating ghosts. I heard that your parents lived in a ghost house. He's like, yep, they sure did. Let's go look at it. And he shows her a picture of his father, and she goes, wow, that looks just like you. That shit killed me. It's like, yeah, it's the same actor. Like, so this movie is also known as Japanese Evil Dead. And the reason you can call it Japanese Evil Dead is because there's literally there's 2 scenes in this movie where he loads a shotgun and says groovy, but in that I don't know, that portmanteau of English that the Japanese love to do. Like it's great. It's a fucking hilarious movie. I highly recommend it. It's fucking hysterical. The resolution to the plot is that he decides that he can't beat the demon, and he can't figure out why. But then he realizes he's not beating the demon because he's not using his muscles.
I mean, that's science.
He literally hulks up, like he does like the Super Saiyan or the Hulk, like, and rips his shirt. And then the best part, after he rips his shirt, he looks at the camera and does that, like, I don't even know what this is called, but that like bodybuilding thing where you kind of turn to the profile and flex, like looking dead at the camera. Oh my God. It's so fucking, he takes like barbells and he's like spinning them around like nunchucks, hitting this demon puppet. Oh my God. It's great. Again, it's an hour and 2 minutes long. Even if you absolutely detest it, like it's an hour long. Like it's a blast. It's on Shudder. It's great. I highly recommend it. Bloody muscle builder in hell. Highly recommended. Funny enough that I looked up the director, and they have made 2 movies. They made this in 1995. And then they made another movie in 2018, and that's it. Like, what a career. Like, that's so weird. Like,
It's like I got one more in me.
right, you made a movie in 95 and you didn't come back till 2018?
Well,
Like,
maybe he was
that's-
working on this for quite a while.
It's, oh my God. When I say, like, no budget,
He
I mean,
didn't.
this
He
might-
didn't hand animate this frame by frame like that Phil Tippett guy, did he?
No. There is some hilarious use of stop motion in this movie that, like, you gotta see this movie. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, that's all I watched. So let's get on to The Accountant. The most action-packed movie about math since, A Beautiful Mind.
Mm. It's like a Beautiful Mind had a gun.
Yeah.
Well, John Nash did have a gun, right? Isn't that how? Didn't he kill himself?
Oh, I believe so, yeah.
Ooh.
Well, if he did it to other people, then I guess.
Oh, gotcha. He
Right.
suicided them.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If he suicided them, if he unlived
Also,
them.
something I'll touch on the movie. I think he was like crazy anti-Semitic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I just assume anybody born before like 1980 was crazy anti-Semitic and also racist.
Turns out
Yeah.
Bobby Fischer was, because when I made a Bobby Fischer joke, then I had to dig into Wikipedia.
I was
to
so
find out.
lost with that joke.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that. I
Oh,
just knew he
he's
was
like
autistic.
out. That's like the
He was
one
like-
thing I did know about him. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I knew chess and anti-Semitic.
It was like neck and neck.
I
He
went.
dropped out of tournaments if there were Jewish players in the tournament.
I
Like, he
mean,
was out of his mind.
I thought that was part of the. I just thought it was chess and autism, but it turns out it was chess and anti-Semitism. Wrong A, I guess. My B.
Oh, I didn't even know he was autistic.
He wasn't. He was just
He wasn't. He's
anti-Semitic.
anti-Semitic.
Oh.
He just assumed because he was good at chess that he was also autistic.
Yep. There's a lot of things coming out.
Yeah.
I assumed since he was Jewish, he was anti-Semitic, and I assumed that since he was good at chess, he was autistic. And I was wrong twice. But anywho, The Accountant. You want me to talk about it? When Alex, you want to talk about it?
You talk about
You
it.
talk about it.
I'll talk
We
about
had
it.
you didn't listen to the show. We all had a real hard time doing the Nazis.
Yeah, we're bad at it.
Oh, well, great. Stiller. Super. Here we go. So, movie opens in, oh no, the movie opens to a crime scene. Some shit's going down and there's a dude lurking and there's bodies on the ground and you don't know what's going to happen. But when I was watching, I assumed the accountant was going to start accounting. But then you get smash cutted to Westchester, New York and, Xavier's home for gifted autistic kids, and you meet.
I'm glad you brought that up because doesn't the end seem like they're building like a little X-Men movie?
It's like a
1000%.
training complex for these kids. They're gonna just.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like it's sort of like the Make-A-Wish version of what made Black Widow.
When did autism as superpower start? When did that like become a thing? Because it feels like a trope now.
This,
Rain Man.
and then Predator did it.
Rain Man.
The Predator.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if you count counting cards as a superpower. So, but yeah, Alex, right? The Predator was the other. That actually, the Predator. I think they name check it as the next step in human evolution.
Yeah,
which is
that's a weird take.
It's a little cringy.
hot. So now we're here, and there's one kid, and you don't know. There's two parents talking to the Professor X, and you don't know who they're talking about. There's a little girl who's having a real tough time. There's another kid doing a puzzle, and there's another kid just kind of taking it all in.
Doing
And
the puzzle face down.
face down, which people do actually.
Is that right? Is that a thing? I was actually going to ask you guys.
Like it's like
is that-
hard mode. Like so, actually, some people say it's easier because you can see the shapes and you can see the pattern, and you're not distracted by like the way I do
by the
it.
picture. Yeah.
Like the way I do a jigsaw puzzle is I'm looking for like visual clues, and then I find out 9 times out of 10 because I was just in an airport that had heads up. If you're in the Portland, Maine airport, there's just jigsaw puzzles out for you to do. And I was waiting for a flight and I did one. And most of the time when the piece fit in, I was like, oh, I didn't expect that to be there. So the pictures will screw you up. So anywho, this kid starts losing his ass because he can't find one of the puzzle pieces. And mom and dad are talking to Professor X like, hey, we can, Professor X like, I'll help your son. And the dad is making some poor parenting choices. The dad is like, you know what? It's going to get this kid through trauma.
You find out the dad, not a great guy.
He doesn't like loud noises and bright lights. We're going to expose him to all of them.
And this won't have negative impacts in the way this kid develops at all. So,
I mean, he honestly turns out surprisingly well adjusted
He's doing better than us.
he's doing better
for
than all of
how
us.
his dad treated his autism.
I mean, I don't have an Airstream packed with Jackson Pollocks and Frank, or was it,
Action
Deutsche
Comics
Marks?
#1.
Yeah. So, the mom and the dad have a little fuss about this. The little girl who's she seems like she's non-communicative. She helps the other little boy figure out what's going on with the puzzle. The other boy is just watching it all go down. Smash cut to the future, and you meet a young woman who works for Treasury, the least sexy of all of the federal agencies, and she is catching it from J. Jonah Jameson, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to figure out who this guy is," and he shows a bunch of pictures of a back of a dude's head, and he's like, "If you don't you don't figure out who this is by the end of the week, I am going to turn over your records that said that you were a typical kid in Baltimore getting into fights."
Yeah, big up to Baltimore for constantly producing hot black chicks. Like, I'll put ours up against anybody's.
Hot black chicks that are nice with those hands.
Also, I didn't know University of Baltimore was a thing, and I've lived here all my
University
life.
of Baltimore,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, it's right down
My
on
dad-
Charles Street.
My dad got his law degree from there.
I had no idea.
Cost
I
him
didn't know
$20.
I didn't know your dad had a law degree.
Well, now you
Oh,
learn
I
a lot.
knew that.
His dad has like 4 degrees.
That's amazing. What
I
happened
remember
to
at
you?
one point-
What happened to
at one
you?
point- I
I'm
remember
the
at one
black
point
sheep.
Gog's explaining to me how whenever his dad's company had a meeting, they brought his dad because he was the only one with any degrees, let alone like 4 master's degrees.
That's awesome.
He could just loan 3 of them out so you guys look stronger.
Yeah,
That's incredible. I had no idea.
the first time I went to my dad's office and someone said, "Hey, doc," I was like, "What the fuck is that about?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what they call me." 2 doctorates, that guy. Me,
Damn,
0
wow.
doctorates.
Same
That's
amount of suspenders.
Same up, yeah. My suspender game isn't even as strong as my father's.
That's amazing.
But he's also not autistic or anti-Semitic.
Shout out to your dad.
Yeah,
Shout out to Goggs' dad.
big up Skoggs, his dad. So I hope he's not listening. So now actually he does listen to the show. That's where.
Does he really? Oh,
No,
that's
he just-
adorable.
Oh, no.
So they're like, "Yo, you got to figure this shit out." So this cat, we only see the back of his head all the time, he's running around with like the hardest dudes, like the hardest of the hard, out there just cleaning cage.
Phrasing.
So like, we're gonna need you to figure this shit out before the end of the week. So she's like, "All right, word up," and then she goes and does that. Now,
Word up.
so then we go back to the accountant, and he's like, "No, now we're not at the accountant yet. We're at an incredibly, well, it's not necessarily based because he's not doing it for socialist reasons. He is doing it for capitalist reasons. But you get introduced to John Bernthal, who goes and does what I think everyone would want to do, which is just put a gun to the head of a stockbroker's head because the guy is shorting stocks and selling him. He's just insider trader dickhead shit. And he's like, "Yo, you can't be doing that shit." And he's like, "All right, make me." And he's like, he just fucking brains him. And
I fucking love that scene. He's like,
Yeah, in the
you feel like
car.
a big man with a gun, don't you? And he puts the gun down.
Yo,
Yeah.
that
He
was
just looks at him.
let's put it on Front Street. Bernthal is not the star of this movie, but he is the star of every scene he's in.
I mean, I think we said
my-
it. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
I was gonna say my big takeaway from this: cut out the weird romance subplot and
Oh,
just give me a
yeah.
couple more Bernthal scenes.
Yes.
Like I wanted to ask the group this after I watched. So we've seen Punisher, we've seen all the things Bernthal's been in. I liked him in Pilgrimage. We've seen him in this. Do you think that he is legit nice with his hands? Because I gotta figure by
I
now
would
he
say
has to be.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, apparently he was like kind of a shithead when he was younger, and I'm pretty sure he got arrested for battery. So like he has asked for the smoke on a few occasions. It sounds
So
like.
well then maybe then he could become Kang.
But I was talking to TJ Analog, and like we talk about movies where they've got a case of the not gays. I feel like they put this woman in the movie so he's like, yeah, he's autistic, but he's not like that autistic. You know what I mean? You don't have to feel bad for like flicking your bean to him because like
The Anna Kendrick character.
yeah. Who
Well, she's
also
a little
reads as autistic.
Yeah, she's just like, if you really think about it, she did all the same math he did.
Yeah, it's just like the other sister meets John Wick.
That's a movie I'm shocked that we've never brought up to watch on the show.
So people are trying to find the accountant, and now this other cat is introduced, and he's like going to be the foil, and then So the accountant is like Agent 47 about this. He gets all his missions from a computer voice. And she's like, yo, people are looking for you. We need you to be on the DL. Take a legit job. Oh, no. Run it back.
Not that deal.
No, not that DL.
That's a better movie.
Before that, you're introduced to the accounting at ZZaccountants.com, where he's helping a farmer family, I guess, dodge the IRS.
Yeah, they can't make their taxes or whatever. But how brilliant is that? Like triple Z.
The part where they're like,
so nobody will ever
calls it.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he doesn't want to be. That's not. No, someone says not a great phone book strategy.
Yeah. Well, it's also a sequel to that Rush album.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm sorry.
So the accountant basically does the Mr. Incredible thing from the original Incredibles movie when he was working the insurance thing, and sort of talks, but without talking him through how to con the government. Fixes their tax burden to the point where dude's like, you can come over to my house and bang my wife whenever you want. And he's like, I'm good. But
I don't bang wives, I shoot.
I will come over with a legitimate 50 caliber Barrett sniper rifle. A machine that the Geneva Convention does not allow you to use on soft targets.
Yeah.
And I'll just let you use
He can use it on cantaloupes.
Did you ejaculate when you first heard the sound?
It was a big boom, and I'm like, when it first was just like squaring it up, I'm like, that's that's wildly unnecessary. That's in this scenario, this is silly. But yeah,
Dogs, as resident gun weirdo, I have a question I don't want to forget. The scene later, the scene later where he's lighting them up in the house,
yes.
and the bullet goes through before you hear the gun. Is that how that would work?
Yes, it's a hypersonic round.
Okay.
You would be.
That shit is
moving,
awesome.
It is moving faster than the speed of sound.
You ever seen a 300 grain match bullet hit or blah, blah, blah? Nope, no one ever does.
Dude, Bernthal is so nice in this movie.
Kills, and he's not he's doing a different kind of thing than he normally does.
I totally agree.
He's almost like an Albert Brooks in Drive. Like he's like a lovable bad guy.
Yeah. Like
he's the bad guy ostensibly.
Well, capitalism's the bad guy still.
Right, well, and it always is.
Undefeated.
Yeah. So he makes friends with the farmers, and they're like, yo, just go get a real job. He's like, all right, I'm going to go work for Third Rock from the Sun, and he makes army hands. So they go to the army hands factory.
He works at the Days X factory. What the fuck was it called?
It was called
Revolution.
BioFace. Yeah, exactly. He goes to mankindevolved.org, and they're like just replacing parts on people. And he sits down across the table from some dork, and the other person is Gene Smart from Designing Women.
Oh my god!
And
that's who that is. Holy shit!
Yeah, because I was like, who is this lady? So they're like, hey, I heard there's some money missing. They're like, no, someone made a mistake.
I think the guy was one of the evil generals from the Punisher show.
Like,
I think you're right. Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah.
He looked
I wonder
familiar.
if that's how he got the gig. Nice. Also, did you mention that he's been in prison with fucking George Bluth? Yeah.
Has that happened yet? I don't know if that's come out yet.
Okay. No, that doesn't come out. I don't think they actually share that until J.K. Simmons explains stuff later.
Yeah, no, I thought it was earlier because
I think it's a little earlier.
Because he's like, you got to learn inflections, and he's like, you're irritated. He's like, yes, good job, that part.
Yeah,
you are right. They show that later. They show later on why.
Yeah,
why George was in prison and why they were both there.
No, but they give you that flashback without context, if I remember correctly.
There's a lot of that, but then it ends up sewing up. It's actually a really tight script for that kind of
really
thing.
Good. Where were we? So he's at the bio factory. Oh, before that though, you get to just witness a little bit of his trauma because he goes to his house after he saves the farmers and he eats his perfectly arranged breakfast with his one plate and his one fork and his one knife and his one spoon. And then he goes into his bedroom and he listens to, I don't know, Lamb of God, with a goddamn strobe light going on while he is like
what is
he's
the
like
what is the wooden? What is that?
so
What is that
one of the things his
accomplishing?
mom said that he had was a sensory issue with like to the touch of cloth and socks
Yeah.
and pants. So this is him. This is his dad's terrible parenting. Like this is just immersion therapy. This is loud noises. This is bright lights, and this is painful sensations on his legs.
Also, like people that are like profoundly autistic have a tendency to strike themselves, like so that's also a thing.
So then he passes out and goes to bed. You see his Airstream. He's got also dope shit. So anyway,
He's got like a reverse Daredevil crib, like which like
Yeah. He's got like the Saw room for fucking Daredevil. Yeah, that works.
so J.K. Simmons and his lady are trying to hunt him down. Meanwhile, he's at robotics.com and they're trying to figure out what's happening. So he takes all of their dry erase markers and their Anna Kendrick and he starts writing on all of the walls and surfaces. And he is just, it's a masterpiece. He's happy. You know, as a guy who loves a good dry erase board, like I'm with him on this one. Like I love just
not a thing dry erase about that. You wouldn't love them so much if you're left-handed. I can guarantee you that.
Almost certainly. But he dry erases the whole thing, and somehow he's much like Joey Pants in the Matrix. He sees through all of the what have you, and he finds the $15 million that was missing. And he's like, yo, here it is. And then they reroute it. And it's all some big scam to make it. I didn't follow the capitalism about it, but it sounds like it was like sucking money away to reinvest it to make it look like it was better without ever losing any money or some such. But it's not good. And it's so not good that
it's so not good.
The bad general
I can
guy.
see why you didn't get a law degree.
Yeah.
This is objection, Your Honor. Very not. This is not good for my client. What's being said right now is not.
It's
very
a bad
not good.
court thing.
I would like you to strike that from the record because we will lose. So this dude gets woken up by the sound of lemon meringue pie being sliced, and why would he have it in his house? And he walks downstairs.
Wait, time out.
Why
is having lemon meringue pie?
Well, he's diabetic, but his wife might want it.
Oh, okay.
Right. He puts the dye in diabetic in just a couple of minutes.
I work with a guy, well, you know, this is pertinent. I work with a dude that has, like, not the fat people diabetes, but the regular one.
Yeah, type 1.
And, like, I've been out with him, and he'll eat, like, whole-ass cinnamon rolls and then just, like, shoot himself up like the scene in fucking Pulp Fiction with insulin. It's like, I gotta stab him 3 times? He's like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna fucking do it. He's just, like, eats whatever and then just shoots up insulin. Yeah, pretty much.
Ladle a spit, and you're good to go. It's saliva, not saliva. You get the idea.
I got you.
So now you meet Bernthal and his boys, and I think one of his boys was in Shoresy, but I haven't checked that out for sure yet. And they're like, "Yo, here's what we're gonna do."
Oh, so you're trying to tell me you're not Shoresy?
No, now I am. He's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up pretty bad and burn your house down because we can't leave your wife alive, or you can just take too much insulin and die honorably."
And then he's like, and then I'll rape your wife. He's like, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to rape your wife, but I am going to shoot her in the head.
Yeah. Bernthal's so good. So, they do that. Dude dies. Jean Smart gets got right through her juicy brains. Meanwhile,
that happens a little bit later, though.
That happens soon thereafter because then they go back to go finish up. The accountant goes to go finish the accountanting in the one place he thought would be safe. He didn't expect this to turn into a crime cartel. But lo and behold, so now John Lithgow is like, I don't want you anywhere near here. Everyone's going to be fine.
That's a pretty good Lithgow.
It's not bad.
They fire him. They erase all of his life's work. And this is bad for the accountant because as
his life's work that happened within a day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he lives a quarter mile at the time. So as we've learned earlier, once he starts a puzzle, he needs to see the puzzle through. So the guy depuzzled his puzzle, and Anna Kendrick's like, I don't know. So then, so now he's back at Grandpa Joe's house, plunking melons, and Bernthal and his boys show up because they gotta level the books here. They gotta get rid of the accountant.
Just his boys, right? I don't think Bernthal's there.
Bernthal doesn't show up.
No, Bernthal's not there. That's correct.
Bernthal's like just landing or something.
So they send him.
No, Berthal is getting ready to take off for the next mission because they assume that it's cleaned up.
Yeah, right, there's going to mop it up. How hard could this be? Right? It's just an accountant. It's just two accountants. So they, for some reason, they don't put two and two together. Like, dude's out here with a Barrett. Like,
Well, they don't see him, right? They just think he's out there shooting a 22 or something because he's like a mile away. Remember?
I guess
Right,
that's
yeah.
true. So
Yeah.
then
Yeah, the farmer earlier even he says like that's got to be a mile. There's no way you can hit that.
if he says
as
not on my best
cantaloupes-
day.
As
Yeah.
cantaloupes start exploding out of midair.
So the wife calls for the accountant using the accountant signal, and then he just starts
God damn.
zapping dudes. And the one guy's like, "Fuck this noise. We're getting your truck. We're getting the fuck out of here."
He is the smartest guy in this whole movie, but it still doesn't. It
1000%.
still doesn't end well for him.
No.
No.
One shot, he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
So then the accountants the truck, and it stops, and or it gets zapped, and he jumps in the back, and
He goes, "I'm taking you into account."
Time to
Cow.
pay. Time to settle your debts. And he pulls him down, he yanks him, and he fucking drops a belt around him. And he's like,
Oh,
"Who
he
did this?"
jumps
Like,
in he shoots the engine block of the truck, then runs it down, jumps in the bed, knees out the back window, and yanks this fucking guy.
Dude, this guy's
out
a
of the-
moose. He's a big
Yeah.
boy.
Well, like, I didn't realize, I guess I should though, Ben Affleck's like a fucking golem. Like, that guy is
Oh, he's
huge.
huge.
Like, he is a
He's
big
so-
boy.
Now,
Yeah.
at this point, is this the part, or is it with Anna Kendrick's apartment? At one of them, he goes Pootie Tang. Like, someone pulls
It's
out a
here.
knife,
That's
and he
yeah.
whips out his belt,
Yeah.
and he just starts beating him with the belt, then he gets around the dude's
I was
neck.
like, are you fucking
pushes him up.
serious?
Yeah, it's so good. So he eliminates that dude. He's like, "Oh, check my breast pocket." And
Well,
then,
because Affleck's so deep into all this crime shit, he has no idea who's trying to kill him. It's like it could be any one of these crime families.
It's the Sonola cartel.
Yeah.
Is it the Russians? Is it the Cosa Nostra? Like, what is it? And they finds out that it's just Robot Man. So they're gonna go after Anna Kendrick next in sort of a ludicrous way of getting rid of her. Like, they're gonna put her in like.
Although, why does he have her badge and he's not the team that got dispatched over there?
Don't overthink it because you need a clue.
Okay.
So now
All right.
there's the clue. So now he goes and runs to go get Marcy or whatever her name is. They battle through her apartment. It also kicks. The part where there's two dudes in the hall, they get got, and there's two dudes in the apartment. And the part where the dude in the apartment that's not actively attacking the bathroom door, like breaks out his gun and slowly opens the door to peek out
And
who's
just-
knocking and just zap.
Right in the bean. Is this before or after John Wick, Gogs? Do you remember?
This is before.
I think this is after. This was 2016. I think John Wick was 2014.
Is that
It's
correct?
very similar. Like
Yeah.
the
Even the gunshots.
The gunplay is all.
Yeah.
You're right,
He
Alex.
does the
John
double
Wick was-
tapping.
John Wick was 2014.
But I love like even in the hallway when he's taking those guys out, he's like almost like crawling in the hallway.
Yeah.
So when the guy peeks around the corner, he's like 2 feet under him and shoots straight up through his head.
It's so good. The
Well, it's
gunplay in
cool,
this
too.
is so good.
Like the silencer, even though it's still kind of bullshit, is still at least a little bit louder than your typical movie silencer. There's like
Yeah.
a little bit of fucking noise.
Yeah, you can hear it
Yeah.
go off. It's just not a bang. It's like a whack.
Yeah.
So
Then he murders the guy with a sink.
Oh, that shit is.
yeah.
Yeah.
um
And he's like
They-
so emotionless. He's like a fucking Terminator, just like totally just stone faced.
that's all he does. So he takes Anna Kendrick to his bat trailer, and he's like, "All right, well, we got to handle this now. How are we going to handle it? I don't know. We're going to go put you up in a very nice hotel. So let's do that." Now, meanwhile, we're intercut to a bunch of other stuff. Now, I'm going to get this part wrong, so let's just stick with it. At some point, you find out about you're cut back to training. This is where earlier in the movie, this is where I kind of put two and two together about the relationship here. Like when the dad has them in, I don't know, let's call it Bangkok. learning
It's
No, it's
India, I think.
Jakarta.
Right? Yeah,
Jakarta.
it's
And I'll
the
tell you-
Jakarta Times or something,
The
newspaper.
fucking newspaper cracked me up because it's in English. It's just like the Jakarta Times. Like, why did you, like, couldn't you just, I don't even know. Why did you have to
He's-
show that?
He's teaching his kids pit fighting from the award-winning arcade game Pit Fighter.
Yeah.
And he's got these two
awards.
they got these two. There's two boys in the scene fighting on this, like, he looks like, Master Tetsu from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And one of them's dressed up like Christopher Walken and the Deer Hunter.
But at this point, I was like, okay, there's two people in this movie that are kind of nice, and there's two kids learning to be nice. So I'm betting the other one's the other one.
Yeah, you're smarter than me because I didn't put it together till the very end, and I was like,
neither did I.
Shit.
Yeah.
I think I put it together somewhere in the third act or in the final showdown.
I think probably was it when he starts asking him all those questions, like when he said his hair short. You mean short like mine? Like how did he sound? Like what did you talk about? Like that? I think maybe that was probably where we put it together.
Yeah, that definitely helped tip me off too. I was like, okay, because he cares. Because there's a scene where they almost interact on a street, and they and Bernthal takes a shot at him. Knowing who it is.
They beat John Wick to the like under the elbow as I'm walking shot.
Yeah.
So you learn why he's all nice with it. And then eventually, the young lady from Baltimore, goes and sees, J. Jonah Jameson, and she's like, I figured it out, whatever. Here's the voice we heard from when the Russians got killed. Cause that's the last time this guy was spotted. He murdered a whole bunch of Italians. And because you can do that now.
What is it, the Gambino crime family?
Yeah, the Gambino crime family, right?
And then he recites that Solomon Grundy nursery rhyme all the time.
Yeah, which is like, right, the kid in the first scene with the puzzle was doing that, right?
Yeah.
So now you find out that, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. J. Jonah Jameson's about to retire. His whole career has been based on stuff that's been spoon-fed to him from computer voice that is also helping the accountant account. And his first run-in with the accountant was when he was just wet behind the ears, a taxman, and he's hanging out in a van watching some mobs. Oh, no. Run it back one more time. They had George Bluth was in prison, and George Bluth knew all the mob secrets, and George Bluth was supposed to be under the protection of the federal government, and the feds fucked him. And Bluth,
they have a great flashback where it's like there's no dialogue because Just Kidding Simmons is like narrating it, but you just see Tambor's like telling him the whole story. You see like him just like rolling his eyes, giving him like the yeah, whatever, not listening to any of it.
And so Tambor gets released. He gets immediately picked up by the mob. Now, Jeffrey Tambor had become friends with our accountant, and our accountant had ended up in prison because I guess they didn't do the mouth swab for autism for Army Rangers because the accountant became an Army Ranger with his dad. And then when they went to their mom's funeral, stuff got loose and his dad got, and the accountant started closing the books on people. So gets sent to Leavenworth or prison or whatever. They use him to like hunt out like Iraqi, receipts or whatever. They had uses for him, but they had them stowed away down here. Becomes friends with Jeffrey Tambor. Jeffrey Tambor gets released. Jeffrey Tambor gets nailed to a chair and presumably burned alive.
They say tortured to death was I think the direct quote.
Yeah. So now, Ben Affleck's like, oh, not today, my guy. And he escapes from wherever he was and starts his accounting practice. So, he's
been laundering the money so he can fund the Xavier school.
Yeah. So he's been pushing. So he bought a whole strip center. He's been pushing the money through the Xavier school. Everything's cash business. All this could come out of the wash. But then you find out that, okay, J.K. Simmons is like, I fucked up. These guys killed George Bluth. I gotta get these guys. And he's there the day that the accountant shows up and got his due. And he's just ending dudes. Like, really. And
Don't they claim that one of them dies of blunt force trauma from getting kicked in the head once?
Yeah, the guy, the Gambino of the Gambinos, like the head, like the Bowser of the castle. He got like
Tony Balls Jr. or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and actually, now you think about it, Mario's killed a lot of things with one kick to the head, so a lot of parallels there.
Yeah.
So,
a whole lot.
The accountant's about to zap J.K. Simmons in the brain. He's like, "Are you a good dad?" Because my dad wasn't. J.K. Simmons like, "I'm pretty shitty at everything else, but I'm a good dad." He's like, "All right, cool, peace," and dips. And now they're sort of like in a weird way friends for life. And then they sort of made J.K. Simmons like the world's greatest IRS like agent of all time. But he's going to retire and he needs someone else to take over the computer voice.
We work for Treasury. We don't have clearance to do none of this.
Any of this.
Catch him again. You know, I am a racist, but every time you do that, chills. So I think that he was Wendell Stamps, but now I got a little off that angle. So now, well, this is going down. It is time for the final assault on John Lithgow's
Tony
home.
Stark's mansion.
And without going into the details, it's just dope. Like, people are just getting got all sorts of ways. People are making bad decisions. My dude is in there just cleaning house. He left Anna Kendrick sleeping in a hotel, so he's just.
Well, are they even making bad decisions, or is it just like they're so outclassed at this point?
They had nothing. They're not bringing anything to the table. He's just handling it, and now
it's basically like the Globetrotters versus the Generals.
I thought
the Generals are due. Gogs, is it feasible for him to handle that gun the way that he is and just walk and shoot it?
Yeah. No, he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was. I think they gave him the same. I think they did what they did to Keanu with his ass. Like, they're just like, they made him an actual weapon.
Yeah.
So now him, and then he like gets shot in the leg. He makes a tourniquet. Like, he's like getting it done. And now it's time for him v. Bernthal. And then you find out, they fight a little bit, and they're like, or they're gonna fight. They find out they're both like, actually, someone's about to zap the accountant, and Bernthal fucking handles it.
He tells him to stand down. He's like, "Fuck you," and then he just shoots him.
And then the scene, I know we said it on text, but it bears repeating. The part where he's like, Bernthal's like bearing his soul. He's like, "You don't talk to me, you don't find me, you don't do anything."
We get a Bernthal growl too. Yeah,
and then he said, but Ben Affleck says something about, I
was trying to protect you, or
it's dangerous.
Like, it's dangerous.
My life is dangerous. And then the way Bernthal cocks it, he goes, "Well, I'm considered pretty dangerous myself." It's like,
I just love that they keep cutting to Lithgow and he's watching the monitor and he's like, gotta be like, what in the fuck is going on here? Like, he's still totally clueless.
Like, what am I paying for? And then like Lithgow shows up and he's like talking his shit, and you think that there's gonna be like this. He just Indiana Joneses him, just zap. That's that.
And then he's like, "Sorry."
Yeah, problem solved. And so then they fuck off, and then Anna Kendrick gets there's a cute moment where it's talking about dogs playing poker, and she gets a Jackson Pollock from Dogs Playing Poker, and then you find out
she removes the Dogs Playing Poker in like the dumbest way. Like, it's like, I got the original Pollock, but I'm just gonna keep ripping at this other thing.
But and then it was Dogs Playing Poker. The Pollock was underneath. She didn't rip.
No, I know, but no, but she's like, once you saw that it was under there, would you like know, as this art history student or whatever, would you just continue to rip at the top of the canvas? Yeah. Like, you'd probably be like, let's do a little easier on this.
That's
anyway.
Fair. So, and then you find out, right, that you go back to the Xavier School for Gifted Murderers, that like there's some new kid that's going to get entered in here, and blah, 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 and show them around. It's a beautiful facility, and they got lots of stuff. It's a caring, nurturing environment. It's everything you would want for your kid like that. And he's like, "Oh, this is our oldest resident. It's my daughter. She lives here. They'll be fine. We'll talk."
And this dude's in like hilarious Guy Pearce old man makeup, by the way.
Yeah. And the dude's like, "Dude, that computer costs a lot of money." He's like, "Hey, whatever." And then you find out, and this is the part I didn't expect, is that the young lady with the non-communicative autism is his
Oracle.
Or it's whatever the name of the little blue person is in Halo. Like, he's Cortana. Yeah. So she's just giving him missions. So, and that's the film. And everybody that could be in a sequel is still alive and eligible. And I would love it because
I know
it's in production hell.
Well, yeah, I looked up the Wikipedia, and I guess the director and the writer and Affleck all wanted to come back, but it just never happened. And I guess the last talks, there was talks that they were going to take the idea that they had for the sequel and make it into like an Amazon show, but that didn't happen either. So who knows?
I've been trying to figure out why
this movie.
not well regarded. And the only thing, maybe you guys have a better thought.
50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can tell you
fucking
exactly
criminal.
why.
Can I do mine first, and
Sure,
then
go
we'll see
ahead.
if it syncs up? Is like there's a glut of. Do you remember the Ben Affleck big hat crime movie? I forget what it's called, but there's like just a glut of these like really gray looking fucking Ben Affleck dumb plot, dumb premise movies that seem
Yeah.
like they all came out the same week.
Jiggly or whatever. Like he's the guy's
Is
got
that what it
stink.
is?
The guy's got
Is Affleck stank?
Affleck has stink on him, right?
Yeah,
he was the bad Daredevil, right? He was in all these shit movies, and then I know what it took for me to get the stink off him. It was either the town or it was Argo. It was one of those two, and I was like, oh, Ben Affleck's pretty fucking good at this. Like, but there is a whole swath of movies, right, between like Good Will Hunting and when we finally appreciated this, that we just didn't look at Ben. And here's the other thing. I submit this for your approval. Know what else came out in 2016?
What's that?
Batman v Superman.
Is that why he's so fucking big in this movie?
We don't want no more Ben Affleck right now.
No, that sucked. Because this movie is an absolute banger, and it's not like it's not a high art film or anything. It's a regular ass movie for normies, and like I don't know, man. Like I would have never watched it if we didn't watch it for the show, and I can't remember even why we watched it. Like
I would have written it off I would have never watched this if it wasn't for you guys. It's the same reason I watched John Wick.
That we
watched this for Labor Days. The Accountant is a job.
As a job. And if I recall, we watched it at TJ's place, and I think Alec picked it. Had you already seen it once?
Yeah, I saw it.
And I was like, I don't know, like.
So I consider this to be one of my biggest triumphs on the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So here's what you got before. Now he was in Gone Girl, which I liked.
I've never seen.
Actually, no, this is post Affleck stinks, and I'm very confused because it must have been Batman v Superman, because The Town, which I loved, 2010, Argo was 2012, right? Gone Girl was 2014, and then you get Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice 2016. You get him showing up in the Suicide Squad in 2016. You get The Accountant in 2016. Then you get the Justice League in 2017. So it's really just caught, and then Jane Silent Bob reboot in 2019.
I guess I didn't realize it was that late.
Yeah, so it's kind of caught. It's in his Batman stink arc.
Yeah.
Because
did you guys see the trailers for the new Zack Snyder movie? Any interest in the fucking aborted Star Wars movie?
No.
I'm glad that Sophia Botella's getting a paycheck because I like her, but yeah, I don't care. It just looks like it looks like Zack Snyder Star Wars. Like,
what's
I don't give a shit. It's called Rebel Moon. Even the title sounds like fucking Star Wars. But yeah,
or Neil Young.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not a Star Wars movie. It's just
it was meant to be, and then
because he was supposed to make like a Seven Samurai Star Wars movie, I think, at one point.
I think that's where this idea started.
Okay.
Wait, isn't the original? Isn't A New Hope just supposed to be like Seven? I never seen Seven Samurai.
No, that's the Hidden Fortress.
How have you never seen Seven Samurai?
I don't have 11 hours to watch it.
It's not. Oh, please! You've watched way longer shit than that. Get it out of here. It's not even that fucking long.
I think I had the Criterion version of it. Yeah. I just never sat down and watched it.
Ridiculous. Get out of here.
The action scenes in this movie are staged really well for a movie of this era. Like, there's not a lot of heavy cuts in it.
No, it's done.
No, you're there the whole time. It's great.
Direction's really well done. Alec, what was your favorite part of the movie? Was it the accounting?
Yeah, I'm really big on math. I could have done with like another hour of him using the dry erase markers.
You actually are really good at math. So
filling up every square inch of glass in that whole building with stuff. Like, I want to see him writing on the prosthetics.
Right. Like on people's foreheads and shit.
It's like a skyscraper he's at on that, like, the like scaffolding, like writing on the outside.
Just one guy walks by with a fucking, like, equation on his head. Like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Luckily, I need
2 million short this period, yeah. Hey, Steve, get back here.
I do love about the movie is they Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alec.
No, I was gonna, like, there's not a lot. There's not really anything I don't like about this movie.
Yeah.
Like literally, I have zero complaints or zero issues with this movie, like at all. It moves. Even it's over 2 hours. It doesn't feel like it.
Mm-mm.
It goes from beginning to end. Like, I guess maybe you could cut out like the hotel scene with Anna Kendrick, but like even that doesn't bother me. Like, it's
No,
not
it's not
so
terrible.
offensive that it like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, it's ruining the movie like it would in some other movies that don't have as much else going on around it. Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to find anything wrong with this movie. I remember being like blown away when I went and saw it in the theater. I believe I just went. It was like a day I was off work in the middle of the week on a weekday.
Was
I
it
was
a
like,
movie pass thing?
it might have been.
That
But
would
it's
have
like,
been the era. That
I want
2016
to
would
go,
have been it.
I want to go see a movie. What's playing that I haven't seen that's getting ready to show in the next half an hour? Well, let me see The Accountant, even though I really don't want to.
I do love that, like, they put that one, like, or I guess two accounting scenes in it, but they're smart enough to go, like, this might be kind of boring. Let's just get rid of all this shit now and just get to the shooting and fighting.
Yeah, because once the shooting starts, it doesn't really stop.
No.
There's no more accounting after the first third of this movie.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Agreed. All right. Five knuckle shuffle time. Unless anybody else has anything else to put in.
I said a lot.
Gogs.
It's a nine.
Good. It's better than Pilgrimage.
It's
Thank
a
God.
9. It's a 9 for me, dog. I loved this. I loved it the whole time. I was here for it from Jump Street. Like it's a great story. It's tight. It's well told. It's well acted. Bernthal's great in it. Affleck's great in it. J.K. Simmons, love him and everything. Love Lithgow and anything. Like, great cast. It is, it did kind of take I thought I was wrong about the dates. So I thought this was pre-Wick. So it's sort of in that same Wick vein, but it's like, I don't know. It's real good. It's happier. It's a happier John Wick at the end, because like his brother's still alive and his love interest is still alive, and they're gonna go hang out and have a good time or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna meet in a week for tea at the tea shop.
Yeah. But it's great. It's well shot. It's well done. The only thing I've ever seen this director do is Warrior, and I love that movie. I think
Movie
that's a
rules.
good fucking
Movie
movie.
rocks. It's a good movie.
So no, this movie's fucking dope as shit. I don't get the ratings. This should be certified fresh, my guy. TJ.
It's also a 9 for me, dog. And the only reason it's not a 10 is because, I mean, I just want more Bernthal in this movie, and it's not really the movie's fault. I just find his character kind of steals the show for me in this movie. Like, I feel like, not that Ben Affleck isn't good, but like Ben Affleck his whole point is he's kind of like a robot, and like Bernthal's just so good in this fucking movie. But like, I loved it. It's great. I think Sean said it. The script is like really tight, and it's full of little twists and turns. The action scenes are well paced, like in as far as like plotting goes. Like they give you action just at the right moment. Like there's no lulls in this movie. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's good. To harken back to something that we've said on the show a lot. It feels like a movie for adults. Like it's not a dumb movie for babies. Like I don't know. I really liked it. It's like a smart, well written, like suspense action movie. Not really like thriller, I guess. I don't know, but it's very good. Yeah, it's a 9 for me, dog. Alec.
It's 10.
Fair.
This is kind of like, I find this movie to be kind of like perfect. Like, there's nothing. Sorry, I had my mic up. I don't know if you could hear me.
Yeah, I can hear. We could hear you.
Yeah.
It's a banger, like all around. Like everybody just said, everybody's good in it. The action is awesome. the non-action is awesome. I want to see more Bernthal roles like this, and like in Ford v Ferrari, where he's not, like in both of those movies, he's cool,
Yeah.
but he's also kind of like funny too. He's got a little more charm to him than you usually see. Because a lot of his stuff that I feel like when I think of him is like The Punisher, where he's just straight up a badass, which is also awesome.
Right.
But the dude's got range. Like I'm pretty sure trained at like Juilliard. He's from DC. I'm pretty sure he did like a bunch of like prestigious acting schools.
Yeah, he did it in Moscow or something too.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
like the Moscow Ballet or something.
Some shit like that, yeah.
But like, he's trained. Like,
Do you learn ballet, ironically, to beat up some kid, to make fun of some kid on his block?
probably exactly what he did. But I would like to see him do more stuff like this, where he gives him a little more range. Not too much more, because I still want to see him like murking dudes. But, yeah, I can't not give this movie a 10. Like, this is a movie that even a couple of times when I had like TBS and shit, and it was on, like I'd pick it up like 20 minutes and I'd be like, oh, well, I guess I know what I'm doing for the next hour and a half. I'm finishing the accountant again.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, 10. Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 too. Like, I think I probably gave it an 8 or a 9 the last time we watched it, but it holds up. This is kind of in like the 2010s cult canon for me, even though it's not really a cult movie. It's kind of up there. It's not a similar movie, but
It kind of is a cult movie because I feel like no one remembers this
We'll
movie.
sleep
yeah,
on
but
this.
it's not like
talk
it's
about
not
it.
like fucking Sergeant Kabuki Man or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
but it's kind of up there with like Out of the Furnace, which is another movie that's fucking excellent that nobody talks about. Like nobody. Like, and yeah, I mean, my complaint's the same as everybody else's. More Bernthal. Like, I could do a scene of him just go, no, you know, that kind of shit. But it is fun to see him with like, like playful hair and kind of like fun. You know what I mean?
His hair in this movie is tremendous.
Like, and like, yeah, I mean, he does do that tough guy shit really well, but he's kind of like a better Frank Grillo. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I love that guy too.
He is a better Frank Grillo, yeah.
But of that vein, of that kind of like little tough guy. But Affleck's really good, and like I normally usually like the shoehorned love interest shit like knocks shit down for me a lot, but it's so inoffensive and so small.
Yeah.
Like, I know they feel like they have to give him something to kind of care about, but like I don't really think it's necessary. But all the action is great. Like I mean, we all love good gunfights, and I mean this movie's chock full of them. So I got nothing to complain about, man. This movie's awesome.
That makes this a certified good-ass movie.
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
So next week, are we doing the Punisher thing or?
Yeah, can we do that? Or
I'm fine with it. I'll go with it.
It was either that or there's a movie called Small Engine Repair or something, some kind of like black comedy that he's in, but I don't even know if you can get that, and I don't know how big of a role. Like, I wanted to actually watch something where he is like the main focus of the movie.
Which episodes are we watching?
The last three,
11,
right?
12, and 13, yeah, the first season.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm in. I'll double check. Like I said, according to what I Googled, it's on Disney Plus and Netflix, but I'll check. If not, it'll be on the Plex.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. That's the
All right.
show. Y'all know what to do. Eat your own ass. Make sure to, if you have any presidential documents, to give them back to the government. Don't put them in your bathroom.
Well, what about his emails?
Oh my God.
What about his real mails?
Somebody was playing clips. I mean, I know like Trump's a hypocrite, but it's still funny when like he was like during the last election cycle or the two election cycles ago when he was talking about how like Hillary doesn't know how, like she was unsafely handling like sensitive documents. It's like, I'm pretty sure they weren't in her fucking bathroom. I don't know.
I love that Hannity was like, you wouldn't do that. He's, yeah, I would. I did. I'm allowed to.
Oh yeah. Well, the best part about all,
let's move on. He's like, no.
The best part about all this is that like it's not treasonous. He literally just did it for clout. Like he did it to impress. He did it to impress like jet ski like dealership owners and dentists in Florida. Anyway, that's the show. Eat your own ass.
I'm down to
And,
Mar-a-Lago, posed with my documents.
Oh
My
man,
banker's boxes.
Sean, how far are you from Mar-a-Lago?
I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to get within like several feet of some of these installations.
Fair enough.
They've got
All
me
right,
hemmed up where I am. All right.
everybody.
Rip.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Later, boys.